All right, it says we're live. I believe we are live. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Labor Day, everybody. And we're glad you're hanging out with us here in the Arctic Air Studios on the daily broadcast, brought to you in part by the wonderful people there at Remax, particularly Kyle Rogers, our realtor in Raiderland, ready to go to work for you tomorrow, and by South Plains College, just down the road in Levelland. A lot of great Red Raiders were great Texans before they became great Red Raiders. The road to Raiderland runs through Levelland. I knew I was going to butcher that. Golly, and it's really not that hard. All right, so yeah, we're hanging out with you today on Labor Day. We'll sort through a little bit more of Texas Tech and Wyoming. We start to look at Oregon. Monday presser today, Joey McGuire commiserating and empathizing with the fans. He had some funny lines on that. It really wasn't a question about, what do you think of the fan reaction? It wasn't one of those type deals, but it was the everyman Joey McGuire that you have come to expect, I think, when we look at that sort of thing. Now, if you are joining us on Twitter and on YouTube, use the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197. Let's get your Raiderland helmet stickers rolling. We finally got a game under our belt. Who deserves a little recognition? Obviously, the helmet stickers, sports and non-sports. And we'll find out today. You can tell us the worst job you've ever had in honor of Labor Day, and what you think the best job in sports is. So that and whatever else, the conversation is good. We'll keep going as long as it's fun. And thanks for letting us crash onto the late remnants of your barbecue today. Fajitas going on at our house. Indeed, Craig, the talking box is on. Let's get it going. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com, where you start your day. Had our post up this morning, waiting for you, Raiderland hot links, some pretty cool stuff for you guys to click on. Also handing out some Raiderland helmet stickers this morning. You guys get in every day. Like tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday's best. We'll give you a topic, you give us 2 of that. We'll also have our best thing we ever ate question for you on food. But start your day there. Good stuff, and we like seeing what you have to say to get going. Coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios, again, 100 degrees today, all week long, brutal heat. You know what to do. Call the Bear. Callthebear.com if your air is not cool. And here in a few months, I'll say, if your air is too cool and too Arctic, you need to call the Bear. Kyle Rogers is your realtor in Raiderland. He'll get you taken care of there at Remax. Check out his Facebook page and his website for Kyle Rogers. A lot of cool new listings there. If you're buying or selling in the Hubaplex, Kyle knows the market. And, of course, South Plains College, as we mentioned, the road to Raiderland runs through Levelland. A lot of great Red Raiders over there. Great programs, great for professional programs, great continuing education. Be sure and check out what the good people in Levelland are doing. Okay, all right, let's do it. We have the Tadlockian theory invoked today by Joey McGuire, which I like. That's good. We have him empathizing, commiserating with the fans. That's good. We had talk about Oregon. That's good. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good stuff all the way around. And we'll explain the Tadlockian theory, but I think you guys will get it. And one of the more perceptive young reporters, she asked a question today about some of the signs around the football facility that are 1-0. It was a good answer there. So all of that today, but let's get those helmet stickers handed out. Helmet sticker to my wife always, yeah, 1 fajitas tonight. Yeah, sure. That's helmet sticker worthy. So because I suffer from night blindness, it makes it really hard for me to drive highway, different things at night. She ends up doing a lot of our night driving. Totaled it up, coming back from my son's game. We're 2 scrimmages in, 2 regular season games into the season. The equivalent of driving from Lubbock to Laramie. Lubbock to Laramie. So helmet sticker, she's a football mom, and she's also a great driver as well. All right, so let's see. Back up. I don't want to make sure we're not missing anything. Worst job, cutting weeds in the field known as hoeing cotton. Man, they were out there last week doing some of that around us. That is a helmet sticker worthy job, and also a job you probably just don't want to have to do right now. Worst job of the GA that has to wash the practice uniforms. Yeah. Counting steps then. Yeah. Aber gets a helmet sticker. He wins the Euro Masters. He's on the Ryder Cup team. We thought he might make it, the European Ryder Cup team. So where are we on that, Tech fans? Is this a no-lose situation for the Ryder Cup now? that, I mean, we're Americans first. Well, we're Texans first. Let's back up just a little bit here. We're West Texans first, then we're Texans, then we're Americans. So we're cool, with America, rooting for America and being all jingoistic on the Ryder Cup. You win, you win. You may have it where Aberg wins every match he is a part of, and then the Euros still lose. Why don't we use our 6'9" and 6'5" tight ends more often, says someone on the United Supermarkets text line. Good question. Zach Kitley talking today about play selection and him needing to be more aggressive. Also, talking about different targets. Bradley ended up being the top target on the day, I think 15 targets on the 8 catches. But it wasn't like Kelly was trying to give a non-answer. It wasn't specific necessarily to what our question is here. But, a combination of his play calls, a combination of what you're trying to take from the defense, and a lot of combinations here, of your quarterback decisions. Now, I got to give you that. How many during regulation, how many play calls did Zach Kitley call for Tyler Shuck to run the football? I'll let you guys populate that with your answers. 806-772-0197. How many play calls did Zach Kitley call for runs for Tyler Shuck? What grade would you give the Red Raiders? That's a D+, C-. Hi, Craig. Jared, I'll take the number 5 combo at Roses. It's nice, too. I don't know what we're taking it. Who's taller, Morton or Shuck? Shuck, I believe, is slightly taller. Scared of the middle of the field. Is it Shuck or Kitley? Good question. Chris is watching. All right, so nobody on the number of play calls that Zach Kitley. 0. He called 0 runs for Tyler Shuck. Those were all checked into, including 2 third down conversions. My point being that this offense must and does and will continue to do so, regardless of quarterback, give the quarterback a tremendous amount of line of scrimmage latitude. That's how this functions. That's how this operates. Kitley did not call a designed run until overtime for Tyler Shuck on Saturday. That goes all the way back to most of it. When you look at guys who aren't getting the ball or are getting the ball, it comes down more to quarterback than coordinator. The route trees are there. The route stems are there. They're out there. They're out there, and we talk about progressions, keys, reads, whatever you want to say, that your 1, 2, 3 looks. Rarely is a tight end a one look in any offense. Some quarterbacks get to it better than others. Instead of quarterback latitude, so we have more longitude than longitudinal. Or latitude, we need longitude. Long, lateral, long, yeah. Always get that confused. Worst jobs you've ever had? It's Labor Day. I'm so glad you guys are out there with us. I appreciate it. On the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197. Everything runs through Laramie. It's all West Texas now. Our friends with the Gambling Gauchos, Kyle and Rob Bro, my old radio show co-host, Rob, they took over the town. They did what needed to be done. I still say I love this non-conference game. Go back. Tech will win there eventually. Didn't work out in 91. Didn't work out this time. They'll win there eventually. Does Shuck have the types? The yips? Is this yips of feeling rushed? I don't know. Need more sample size on that. Sean says he doesn't trust the pocket. Maybe. I think he also sees that he had opportunities. He converted them for the most part on the runs. He converted them. So I think he probably made the right decision on several of the runs. The pass protection was not all that bad Saturday night. The run blocking was, and both Joey McGuire and Zach Kitley talked about that today, about finishing blocks first and foremost, and a lot of backside blocking and other blocking where you have 10 guys making a play and one guy's missing it. Did they, with Wilburn out, did it change up some communication? Yes, they did admit that there was a little bit of that in first game stuff, but it really came down to Texas Tech not blocking well. The run blocking was worse than the pass blocking. Pass blocking was there. John, our offense was not in the fast mode at all. We switched players between plays and let Wyoming stall the game. That's an astute observation. You can still go fast if you get your personnel groupings out there. My thing with personnel groupings, we'll get to Jared here in a second. The personnel groupings, college coaches have fallen in love with personnel groupings. And as you know, if I sub, you sub, talking about the defense. And if the defense subs, and I think this was on the TV broadcast, did one of the analysts mention how the Wyoming players were taught to casually jog off the field? I think I lose track of where I hear things sometimes. I think that was on the TV broadcast. That's everybody. All defenses taught to do that. But there's this we got to get these guys out. We got to use these guys. We have this package. We have jet package. We have X package. We have laser package. We got all these packages. How about this? How about you use the same guys for like 4 plays in a row, 5 plays in a row, 6 plays in a row? Nobody comes off the field. No subbing. Because you have a best group of players. And they should be able to run all of your plays for the most part. That it shouldn't be, unless we're talking going from 11 to 12 personnel and certain things like that. I think offensive coaches have fallen into this habit of just subbing too much in general. Gone are the days where you had your 11 best players out there and you might change out a split end or a wide receiver, and a running back might raise his hand on the 7th or 8th play of the drive. And I know we weren't playing fast back in the dark ages. I know we didn't have NASCAR. We had Grand National. I think we outthink ourselves sometimes offensively. And I'm not talking about Texas Tech. I'm talking about in general. Fat Lady is singing. Baron Morton is warming up. Baron Morton's always warmed up. Shuck had his worst game since he's been back. He needs to play this weekend like he did in the bowl game. He's only been back for a little while. 66%. And I'll echo what Kitley said. Was it his greatest game? Did he grade out at 95% or whatever? No. But 100%, the play of Shuck was good enough to win a football game. 2.8 yards per rush adjusted after sacks, not good enough to win a football game. Tech has on their wall in the team meeting room, in the Spike Dykes room, 8. It's 8, basically 8 keys to winning. They did 3 of them. Now, usually you got to do 4 to win. Occasionally you can do the right 3 and win. They didn't do that. The Shuck problem wasn't the problem, though. Is the line still 7.5? Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go look and see what we've got at some different places. We get a long distance dedication from John wondering about the line for Texas Tech and Oregon. And I can tell you, John, that you need to keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars, because that's -6.5, -1.7 being hung up by our friends right now in the desert of Las Vegas and other places at Station Casino. Yeah, thanks for the letter there, John. And now here's the Doobie Brothers. That's the worst Casey Kasem I've done. In order to do Casey Kasem, you have to do Scooby-Doo first, and then you slow Scooby-Doo down or not Scooby, but Shaggy. Scooby-Doo. You slow Shaggy. He was the voice of Shaggy. And you slow Shaggy down just a little bit, and then you get Casey Kasem. That's pretty weak for Labor Day. Worst jobs you've ever had. Best jobs in sports, Labor Day edition. A lot of Texas Tech football. Joey McGuire was one of you this weekend, by the way, when it comes to fan reaction. I liked it. Let's go back. Randy said, nice to see a huddle. Wyoming ran a lot of clock with their huddle. They kept their players in it with little subbing. That's what they do. That's why I said Saturday night late. Wyoming did a better job of being Wyoming, even down 19, than Texas Tech did after getting up 17 of being Texas Tech. They bleed clock. They huddle. They snap under 10 seconds. Off the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197. Hey, they were open today. I went in. Sour cream, pico de gallo, the fresh pico that they got over there in the little fancy food section, I call it, which is really handy. just a few other things for the fajitas. They had it all going on today. If Kitley lets his quarterback check out of plays, does that mean his plays are garbage? Morton seems to have more of the it factor. Does the staff think we'll win 10 games with Shuck? Yeah, they think they'll win 10 games with Shuck. Yes, it's garbage play calls. No, everything is predicated. Every offense now, for the most part, is predicated on options at the line of scrimmage. You coach your quarterback to do that. You coach your quarterback to look at the defense and adjust. You adjust routes. We have route adjustments. Once we get to the line of scrimmage, we look at inside, outside leverage, 3-layer coverage. We have adjustments on the offensive line on block call, combo call, deuces, and what we want to do there. Everything is it's very fast-moving stuff. So does that mean the play calls are garbage? No. It means you've got a well-coached quarterback who checks you out of a play. I'm calling the play over there on the sidelines. I've got a down and distance scenario. I know where I am on the field. I know what their defensive tendencies are. I'm doing that. Guess what they're doing over there on the other side? They know what the down and distance tendencies are for me. They're matching that. They're doing that. Hey, the defense can force you to do different things. So you better have a smart quarterback who can get you out of a, quote, bad garbage play call. The Gran Turismo movie is good, interesting, true sports story. No idea where that came from, but gives me something to do. Worst job James had, roof work in July. I would say roof work in general. Defense needs to wrap up and quit slinging runners and expecting them to fall. I thought they had some good individual one-on-one tackling at times last night. Wyoming game, says John, reminded me of the Spike game against North Texas. Which one? Debbie's in today on a holiday. Roy is in today. All of those good things. 806-772-0197 on the United Supermarkets text line. We'll go as long as the conversation is good tonight. Moving on to Oregon a little bit more as the week goes on. The Bo Nix story is here. They damn near killed the duck, making him do push-ups against Portland State. Portland State needed Barrett Perry running the offense. And then, of course, you have Raiderland helmet stickers to give out today. Who deserves the stickers? Off the text line, would have blitzed at the end of the game like did. Would have blitzed at the end of the game like did. I feel like I'm playing match game. Or if you're saying, would I have blitzed at the end? Hell yeah, I would have tried to heat him up. They did. It's a 0.5 play. If you are 0.5 faster than they are, 0.5 seconds faster, you get home with that, you win. If they're 0.5 faster releasing and there was a communication breakdown on the coverage of the tight end on that touchdown, then you get beat. So you were half second late, and that was a couple of times during the game. And we'll get to the defense as well. The frustrations that both Tim DeRuyter and Joey McGuire had with the defense. But yeah, I don't mind blitzing. Go for it. Worst job, a student at Southwest Texas was taken to a neighborhood in Austin and left there 6 hours to sell siding door to door. Since I went to South Texas, you know who's getting my helmet stickers. Eat 'em up cats. One of the biggest wins, maybe the biggest wins in Southwest Texas State or Texas State history. Go Bobcats. My buddy Clint Shields, former KKMer back in the 90s, does color and radio and all sorts of stuff there. Southwest Texas State. Good Red Raider. Anyways, he got to be on the call for that. I'll say this. Helmet sticker to the Red Raiders. At least they stunk it up outside the state of Texas. At least they had the decency to go outside the state, unlike TCU, unlike Baylor over the weekend. Hi there, Hillary. Happy Labor Day. Coach Prime has them drinking the sauce. They are ranked. Yeah. Worst job ever, fielding. Hold on. Fielding congressional complaints regarding their voters in their district during the housing crisis of 08. Nightmare. Yeah. George Duncan enjoyed doing the play-by-play when he was calling games for North Texas. George Dunham. Yes, got to do a couple of those. Hey there, Paul. Good to see you. Sawyer Robertson will get his start this week for Baylor. Yeah, beat Shaven, the quarterback for Baylor, out several weeks after that game. So the former Mustang Mississippi State transfer didn't take him long to find the field there in Waco. And now, and Scott leads us right into the Joey McGuire message to the fans. said whatever criticism or off the wall comments, I thought them to myself, brutal, unique, deflecting strategy or not. I thought it was real. He empathized with the fans. He let's see, go to my notes from earlier today. On the fan reaction, they ought to react the way they want to react. I've read it all. Now, he did say, my wife told me not to get on social media and read it. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Hey, I coached South Dallas. Football is life. There's nothing. And I thought about that this weekend, that there's not a lot that he hasn't heard in person or otherwise coaching high school sports in Texas. But I said, I've read it all. Recommended to the players that they not do it, but, whatever. And I feel exactly the same way in my own head. And he kind of talked about how, if he actually wrote or, said some of the things that he was thinking afterwards, people would be like, wow. But he said he's not worried about Tech fans showing up. They're going to show up, great support. And he was talking about the great crowd up at Wyoming, was proud to walk through all the red and black and everything. And then said, the only thing I'd say is that Texas Tech fans are all in, that the fans are all in. And when you're all in, and if you're in, you can say what you want to say. And I thought that was a really good discussion point that he had. Thought that was a really good discussion point. Shane watching. How's our linebacker situation this week with the injuries? Rodriguez is down. And you're going to move a couple of guys around. Who did I on the DeRuyter deal? You're going to see a little bit more out of Ben Roberts, that he's been working there, so you move that up. Matthews will move around a little bit, but that's how they'll handle that. Did Tech recruit Sawyer Robertson off the United Supermarkets text line? Yeah. The previous staff expressed interest, and he was pretty much a Mike Leach guy from the get-go, growing up in Lubbock, all that stuff, that he wanted to be a part of that. And I want to say that even Mike, when he was at going as far back as when he was at Washington State, was in on him and everything else. Hillary, kind of like voting. If you don't, hush. If you do, you can comment. Yeah, talking about McGuire's statements, which I thought they were really good. And him empathizing with the fans, saying, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm going through the same thing. It wasn't any of this, man in the arena stuff. And, you can't. And I agree with his deal that he doesn't mind it because he knows that this is a fan base that is bought in, that is excited, that is committed, that will show up, and they'll sell out Tarleton and they'll sell out Oregon. I keep reading all these things about the demise of certain aspects because Texas and OU are leaving and who Tech isn't playing anymore. And all I see is Texas Tech people buying tickets to go watch Texas Tech no matter who the opponent is. Rumors of the demise of the program, at least now, pretty good. Did Debbie tell Joey to stay off social media because she was blasting them too? I wonder what her fake name social media is. Not saying she has one. I would just go under Coach McGuire's wife and just nobody would believe that it's really you. And then that would be what I would use if I was doing it. Coached in South Dallas, high school football is life, literally. There's nothing he's going to see or hear that's going to be any different on that front. The Tadlockian theory. By the way, we'll reset here in the final 7 minutes or so. Give us some helmet stickers. Who deserves recognition this week? Jump on the United Supermarkets text line if you're on Twitter and or YouTube channel. That's how we get to see it. 806-772-0197. Breakfast, Market Street. Evie Mae's Barbecue, 114th and Slide Road. Just give you some ideas tomorrow if you're looking for something. And he talked about the importance of not letting Wyoming beat you twice. The question was basically kind of what did you learn? And McGuire speak, we're still learning McGuire speak, can get to a point that he wants to emphasize no matter what the question is, that he'll use that. He also does by the way, do we want to bring back Ask Coach Hyatt this year? We can do that on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. where I play the role of a generic coach, not necessarily Joey McGuire or anybody else. You can ask me generic questions. Would you guys like for us to bring back Ask Coach Hyatt? We started doing it last year, so we could do that. But that he got to the idea of you can't let Wyoming beat you twice. And I don't think I went back to the reporter question about the 1-0 signs. And that's Tadlock in baseball. And he does it different ways. Tadlock will make you guys go crazy sometimes because it looks like he's quitting on a game. And he doesn't throw certain guys in the bullpen, or he just, he'll give away a game. He won't allow it to beat him twice. And McGuire talked about the importance of that today, that whether you win a game or you lose a game, you cannot allow a game to beat you twice. And he talked about how last year they didn't handle some wins very well. After the Texas win, they didn't handle going to K-State very well. Some teams this week will try to figure out how to handle winning, and then other teams like Tech, like TCU, like Baylor, have to figure out how to handle losing. But the 1-0 signs, and I've seen variations of this over the years, different places, different ways. And it gets back to the idea, and I like this. It's the old one game at a time mantra, which drives some fans crazy or whatever. You guys can look at the old one game at a time, but you only get to play one game a week. You can only win one game a week. You can only be 1-0 this week. That's all you can do. Whether you won last week and whoever you're playing next week, regardless of that, you can only win one game a week. And it is a mantra that allows you to, the 24-hour rule works both ways. A win or a loss, 24 hours, you got to move on. I may talk tomorrow about one of the hardest things about being a fan versus being involved in it on the coaching, playing side, or inside a program. That some of this is a lot harder for some fans than it is if you're actually doing it. But that he talked about, and I call it the Tadlockian theory, don't let it beat you twice. I'll forget. One of the biggest criticisms of the defense front, poor rush lanes. Tim DeRuyter thought the run fits were good, handled the run pretty good. The rush lanes lost contain, and that's what we talk about when we talk about rush lanes. We're talking about you get too deep, you get too wide, you get great penetration, you come free, but you're in no place to make a play. And they really felt like the rush lanes were really poor against Wyoming Saturday night. That was a common refrain for McGuire and Tim DeRuyter. Steelworkers in south end zone. Helmet sticker. Oh, dogs are going crazy. We're hunting outside the Arctic Air Studios today. Well, if you hear anything, nobody's been taken to the train station. It's just a little bird hunting going on. Losing to Wyoming was the same disappointing feeling as losing to Baylor last year in the Patrick Mahomes dedication night. Win Morton wasn't so good. Yeah. Glenn, will we see any more schemes this year similar to what Wyoming runs? Offensively, not really. That's about as heavy as that's going to get. Oregon, fast, speed, attack, they're not going to lay back. They're a breed of a different cat, Spike might say. Breed of a different cat. Get on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. You guys can obviously share this live every day when you come in here. Invite your tech friends. Spread the word. You guys are the best apostles we got out there on what we're doing and growing this. The more, the merrier. You can email the link when we post it at theraiderland.com. I know you guys probably have 5, 10, 15 hardcore Texas Tech fans. Maybe they're around Lubbock, but maybe they're not. They live somewhere else and they don't get enough coverage. I'd really love it if you guys would invite them in. Missed the Kitley interview. How concerned is everybody about the number of shucks batted down passes? Yeah, we had mechanics talk today on that. Mechanics talk. Arm slot, arm angle, all of that. It was Joey McGuire who talked about one of the greatest things for football is Patrick Mahomes. One of the worst things for quarterbacks is Patrick Mahomes, and watching him and his arm angles and different things and thinking you can get away with it. That you had some breakdowns and that they have worked on this and addressed it with Shuck. Seat the ball high, get the elbow up, get the ball. Arm angles. And that a lot of that's on him at different times on bad arm angles. Some of that is pocket presence. not moving where you need to be. Some of the fast lanes, sometimes they just jump up and knock you down. Mechanics and arm angles. Your arm slot. Helmet sticker to Coco Groff, advancing to the third round, adding to her 11 million career earnings. Go Coco. Of silence for there being no tech game on the air in Seymour, Baylor County. Rest in peace, KSEY. Man, Chuck, you fought the good fight, the old law dog out there, and I don't know all the backstory and everything else on it. I hate that. Hopefully, get some stuff resurrected radio-wise and everything else. Good to see you pop up, Chuck, man. I hope the world's treating you good. Off the United Supermarkets text line, what did you think about Cody Campbell's comments? He said we've given a lot, even down to the new Alabama lights and sound system that Joey likes to talk about. Cody likes to express his opinions. He's a regent. He's a major donor, and he has every right to say anything he wants to say. And I read it. I thought, I'm not reading anything here that, is outlandish, crazy, or otherwise. And I think it's good. Cody Campbell is transparent, and I would expect that out of a fellow Canyon Eagle, even though I did not graduate from Canyon. I still consider myself an honorary Eagle. And he has been out front, and he's not afraid to say what he says, and he puts his name on it. Who is my favorite professional race car driver? Lightning McQueen is still probably going to have to rank right up there for me. Hey, Derek, glad you're watching. Happy Labor Day. The retiring Kevin Harvick is about the last of my guys, my second generation guys. You had the kids you grew up with, or as you grew up with, you had drivers as a kid. The Richard Petty era, the Allisons, that grouping, 70s and 80s. Then you had the second wave for me, which started there in 99, 2000 with the Harvicks, Jimmy Johnsons, Tony Stewart's. So when Harvick retires, man, I love the way Kyle Larson drives. Shout out to Kyle Larson. Nice in there in the Southern 500. Was that last night? Yeah, last night. The younger guys, and I mean, it's 7:01. I could go till 8 o'clock on the demise of NASCAR since its peak of popularity around 06, 07, and the slow, self-inflicted, painful death that they've tried to create on that sport. But for those of you at least my age, which means you're in your 50s, early 50s still, it really gets hard to have the same affinity for somebody 30 years younger than you. That I watch the sport, I still like the sport, but I don't identify the way I identified with Tony Stewart, the way I identified with Harvick, Clint Boyer, different drivers. Helmet sticker to Ludwig Aberg. Cup selection. Too soon. Put him on the team. He'll be there. Helmet sticker to the fake Ralphie in the Ralphie costume braving the heat in Cowtown. Ooh, liked Matt, was a Matt Kenseth fan. The Duracell commercials with Kenseth, where he was a robot, were great, and I still blame Matt Kenseth for killing the old point system championship style, that he was so boring in winning in 2003. They foisted the playoffs on us in the chase. And, of course, Kurt Busch retiring a couple of weeks ago after his injuries, won the first one in 2004 under the new format. And I blame that a whole lot. NASCAR quit being NASCAR. Be you. Be you. Helmet sticker to Terrence Steele. Brother got paid. Coming back from knee injury. Happy for him. Very happy for him. All right, I think we've about hit on everything we got. Oh, by the way, the West Texas racing group, nice win for them. All-American Futurity, Cowboy Gun Z gets the win. Who was that? That was Agustin Silva on top today. And a big, big win for that horse. Who was it? Was it Dark Enemy was going off 2-5, I think, went off as pretty heavy favorite. They thought they might have a track record, broke bad inside a little bit, wandered slowly out of the gate. We are going green, white checker with NASCAR and horse racing talk. And then just like a rocket sled on rails, there came part of the lineage of Dash for Cash. Don't have to go back too far, really, on a lot of the great ones. But Cowboy 123's sired Cowboy Gun Z. pay attention to that little lineage right now. You've already had several stakes winners coming out of Flying Cowboy 123. So the All-American Futurity, the fastest 30 seconds in sports. Just doesn't take too long. And I love quarter horse racing, but man, it is a nightmare to try to handicap into or wager on that because your horse just doesn't have time to recover. If they break poorly out of the gate or anything else, one little misstep and you're just like, yeah, tear that ticket up. Probably not going to get there. We will be with you obviously tomorrow. No more 2-Word Tuesday, but instead Tuesday's best. So go to the website, theraiderland.com. Again, you guys still digging the hot links? We're having fun putting it together. It's videos, it's tweets, it's different stories that we find interesting, that we hope you find interesting. If you see stuff you like, you can send it to us in the comments section. We'll put it in the next day's deal. What we didn't get to today, we'll get to tomorrow. And I remind me tomorrow. You guys do a good job of reminding me of crap about why it is harder, I think, for you sometimes as a fan than it is for the actual participants to deal with a loss. It's nothing earth-shattering, really. It's not a monster track, Mike, but it's pretty good, I think. We'll find out. All right, so we got to say goodbye first to everybody on Twitter and on YouTube. It asked me, do we want to end the broadcast? Yes, end the broadcast. And we push that little